Hey guys, hope you're having a good day today. This is going to be the second in my series called Setting the Tone. If you have not seen the first one, please go back and take a look. Setting the Tone was the title of my column when I was a journalist. And I want to use this as a forum, one, for things that I have gone through personally that may help someone else, or two, some things that I see going on that I just don't feel comfortable with. With that being said, this particular video is not for children. If you are easily offended, if some of the language or the topic that I'm about to discuss offends you or in any way puts you off, stop the video now. I say do not, unless your children are of an age, teenagers, that could use the speech that I'm about to give. Now, this particular video is going to be about addiction. It's been a really hard choice for me to say something about this. And most of this is going to be about my personal problems. And what finally broke the thoughts between should I or shouldn't I. A few nights ago, a friend of the family, at times a rather close friend, he was one of my older daughter's boyfriends for a while, was arrested and is facing 2 felony charges. Excuse me, I have something in my eye. Now, these charges weren't for possession, they weren't for distribution or any of the other things that come with illegal substances. The felonies were for him breaking into a business because he had to find a way to get that fixed. This is a young man in his 20s. He has a son who is just over 4 years old, that will now be most likely without his father in any capacity for 10 to 20 years. Now, he has had problems. He's had problems for the most part since I've known him. But he went to rehabilitation. And it actually is one of the best programs in this area. Well, it's not even in this area, it's in this state, quite a ways away from here. And when he came back, there was a lot of hope for him. He got a job, he looked good, and he was spending time with his son. It appeared that it was going to work out for him. Now, I haven't had a chance to talk to his father, and really I haven't spoken to him since he was arrested. And I don't know what sent him back down that path. But addiction is something that you can never get over. It never goes away. And anyone that tells you that they were an addict but they're cured is only lying to themselves. It doesn't work that way. Can you control? Can you be in control? Yes. But circumstances can change at a moment's notice, and that control can immediately go away. Now, I have problems in his case specifically, and in many others in this area, where I believe our legal, judicial, political system is attacking the problem improperly. And I'll give you an example. Heroin has become a major force where I live. It is rivaling or has surpassed the crack cocaine epidemic of the 80s. 3 weeks ago, our local and state law enforcement had a, quote, raid. They arrested 26 people. None of them with what most would consider dealer, big time drug dealer, narcotics in their possession. There were a few who were low tier dealers. And this was plastered all over the newspaper, the radio stations. It was such a success. But 90% of the people that they arrested are just addicts that are trying to get a fix, that are selling just enough so that they can take care of themselves. And most of these people will get a smack on the wrist and be back out on the street in 2 or 3 days trying to do the same thing again because they've been offered no help. And all the while, the person that is shipping it across state lines, that is bringing all of it in, is sitting back gathering money. The judges, the police, the entire court system, every time someone goes through, money in the bank. There's people go to jail, money in the jail system. But none of them are afforded mental health help. None of them are afforded rehabilitation. Instead of feeding our system, why not give those people a chance? Like my friend. I very firmly believe that if he would have gotten help earlier in his life, that he wouldn't be in the situation he is now. Chances are he could have, but when it's taken to the point where this is a young man who had his throat slit, has been arrested before, and has been on drugs for at least a decade. And up until roughly 6 months ago, he had never gone to rehab. No one had forced him to go to rehab. No one asked him to go to rehab. When he was arrested the first time, they didn't force him to go to rehab, force him to get counseling. None of that. But now he's back in the system. The jail is going to get more money. His son's going to need help. Either his parents or his girlfriend's parents are going to have to support his son. I have to think there's a better way. And I'll tell you why this affects me so much, other than him just being a friend. I am an addict. I have been clean and sober for almost 2 decades. But in my youth, in my 20s, I can honestly say with a straight face and without lying that if there was an illegal substance on the market, it had been in my system. I was traveling across state lines every day to get what I needed. Now, I never stole. I never hurt anyone other than myself. But I also never saw a chance for that help. Now, what changed me was my children and my current wife, albeit we are separated now. We were both in a bad way, and we got together and got cleaned up and became functional. My problems started in high school, actually middle school. My first experience with marijuana was in middle school. By the time I got to high school, I was doing speed during the day and then smoking weed at night to get to sleep and repeating the process day after day. And that's not including the alcohol, which my school had an open campus, so at lunchtime, I would hop in my car, drive out, illegally purchase alcohol, come back, park, drink it, and go back to the second half of my classes semi-inebriated. And this went on for the majority of my junior and senior year. Now, part of what got me further down that line is the places that I worked beyond that. And it's why I no longer, I want to DJ, but I know I can't. I know that there is too much chance of people and places like the gentlemen's clubs, like the dance clubs, that will easily offer substances for free. And although I can say right now that I would turn it down, I just don't know. I don't know if presented, someone hands something to me that every time, especially day after day, that I could say no. It would be tough. And perhaps the only thing that would keep me saying no is my children. Most people don't have that. I did serious damage to my body over the years. And honestly, and if I could publish the medical documentation, I would. The reason I have my nickname, Test Positive, is that I had a drug in my system that should have been out in 3 days, at most a month. But I had done so much consistently for such a long period of time that it took 6 months to clean my system. I'm not proud of any of this, but I did it. I take responsibility for it. That's why I keep my nickname. That's why I keep that tag, to remind me of what I did, to understand where I was. comes from a dark place. Addicts look to fill a void in themselves. It could be food, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, you know, it could be recently sex. You know, there's a TV series based on sex addiction. And all of these go back to one point. They are mental health issues.